Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another legal breaking reporting video analysis update. A judge is expected to hear arguments related to Trump's illegal, unconstitutional, unlawful deployment of the California National Guard to LA. Let's get into this new reporting and figure out all the breaking analysis details in this legal breaking reporting video analysis update by PBS. The article, ladies and gentlemen, is titled Judge to Hear Case on Whether Trump Violated Federal Law with National Guard Deployment in LA. And ladies and gentlemen, the article reads, a federal judge will hear arguments on whether the Trump administration violated federal law when it deployed National Guard soldiers and U.S. Marines to Los Angeles following June protests over immigration raids. President Donald Trump and his administration federalized California National Guard members and sent them to the second largest U.S. city over the objections of Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom and city leaders after protests erupted June 7 when Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers arrested people at multiple locations. California is asking Judge Charles Breyer in San Francisco to order the Trump administration to return control of the remaining troops to the state and to stop the federal government from using military troops in California to execute or assist in the execution of federal law or any civilian law enforcement functions by any federal agent or officer. The 1878 Pos Comitatus Act prevents the president from using the military as a domestic police force. The case could set precedent precedent for how Trump can deploy the Guard in the future in California or other states. Let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna do a little bit of editorial work right there. There will be no future because Donald Trump is on his second final legal term per the Constitution of the United States. My editorial's addition. Continuing with the article. On Monday, Trump said he was deploying the National Guard across Washington, D.C. and taking over the city's police department in the hopes of reducing crime, even as the mayor has noticed that crime is falling in the nation's capital. In June, the Department of Defense ordered the deployment of roughly 4,000 California National Guard troops and 700 Marines to Los Angeles. Most of the troops have since left, but 250 National Guard members remain, according to the latest figures provided by the Pentagon. The remaining troops are at the Joint Force Training Base in Los Angeles, according to Newsom. Newsom won an early victory from Breyer, who found the Trump administration violated the Constitution's 10th Amendment, which defines power between federal and state governments and exceeded its authority. The Trump administration immediately appealed, arguing that courts can't second-guess the president's decision and secure a temporary halt, allowing control of the California National Guard to stay in federal hands as the lawsuit unfolds. Actually, yeah, they can, ladies and gentlemen. They can by law. It's called judicial review. All courts, including the High Court, which is the Supreme Court, agree. It's in the Constitution. Look it up for those of you that disagree. Get educated. In other words. After their deployment, the Guard members accompanied federal immigration officers on raids in Los Angeles and at 2 marijuana farm sites in Ventura County, while Marines mostly stood guard around a federal building in downtown Los Angeles that includes a detention center at the core of protests. The Trump administration argued the troops were needed to protect federal buildings and personnel in Los Angeles, which has been a key location in the federal government's aggressive immigration strategy. Since June, federal agents have rounded up immigrants without legal status to be in the U.S. from Home Depots, car washes, bus stops, and farms. Some U.S. citizens have also been detained. Ernesto Santa Cruz Jr., the field office director for the Department of Homeland Security in Los Angeles, said in court documents that the troops were needed because local law enforcement was slow to respond when a crowd gathered outside the federal building to protest the June 7 immigration arrests. The presence of the National Guard and Marines has played an essential role in protecting federal property and personnel from the violent snobs, Santa Cruz said. After opposition from the Trump administration, Breyer issued an order allowing California's attorneys to take Santa Cruz's deposition. They also took a declaration from a military official on the troops' role in Los Angeles. The Trump administration's attorneys argued in court filings last week that the case should be canceled. They argued that the president has the authority to call on the National Guard to enforce U.S. laws, when federal law enforcement isn't enough. Ladies and gentlemen, that is solely incorrect. Enforcing federal laws is the federal agents' role and not the National Guard. That is solely incorrect, ladies and gentlemen. The National Guard should be out there on the battlefield defending the state, not rounding up immigration official duties. In other words, rounding up immigrants, especially U.S. citizens. Continuing with the reporting. The Trump administration, I already read that. Trump federalized members of the California National Guard under Section 1246 of Title 10, which allows the president to call the National Guard into federal service when the country is invaded. Ladies and gentlemen, the country is not being invaded. I don't know what the hell is up with this wannabe dictator rotting corpse. Moronic doofus. But the country is not being invaded. When there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government, and especially, ladies and gentlemen, there is no evidence of a rebellion occurring, especially against the federal government. Or when the president is otherwise unable to execute the laws of the United States. Breyer found the protests in Los Angeles fall far short of a rebellion. Next week's trial is not canceled, he said, in a ruling ordering the 3-day bench trial. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this legal breaking reporting video analysis update. If you did enjoy this legal breaking reporting video analysis update, please firstly like, comment, share, subscribe, and enjoy. Secondly, if you would like to make sure you're always up to date on all the things legal breaking reporting wise on the side of politics, please hit the bell icon as well as the all notifications option. The bell icon is located directly beneath the screen here on the right hand side of the subscribe button. Thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can also keep up to date on all the things legal breaking reporting wise on the side of politics by following me on my social medias that'll be linked in the video description below. I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, Threads, as well as TikTok. There, ladies and gentlemen, you guys will be updated when I upload brand new legal breaking reporting video analysis videos to the channel on the side of politics. Fourthly, ladies and gentlemen, please help me reach and achieve the goal of 150 plus subscribers. 250 plus subscribers. The reason why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying 250 plus subscribers is because right after we reach and achieve the goal of 250 subscribers, we have more subscribers to reach and achieve. Right after we reach and achieve the goal of 250 subscribers. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, please stay safe. And always look for the points of light in today's unfortunate illegal induced darkness caused by the illegal, unconstitutional Trump regime. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, and always look out for my next legal breaking reporting video analysis update. And I will look forward, as always, to talking to you guys in my next legal breaking reporting video analysis update.